Hey Dodgers fans, welcome back. Today we have a truly fascinating topic that's been stirring the MLB rumor mill and shaking up discussions about the Los Angeles Dodgers' future roster. If you've been keeping an eye on the latest moves, you know that things have taken an unexpected twist. A player whom many thought could become a cornerstone for the Dodgers in the near future has instead chosen to sign elsewhere, leaving fans with a mix of disappointment and curiosity about what this means going forward. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, this doesn't mean the door is completely closed for Los Angeles. In fact, it opens up a storyline that could play out in some very intriguing ways over the next couple of seasons. What we're talking about here is the Japanese powerhouse, Munetaka Murakami, a player whose name has been buzzing not just for his performance overseas, but for the potential he has to make an immediate impact in the majors once he lands stateside. Murakami is no stranger to high-pressure situations. Back in 2023, he was part of a star-studded Japanese roster competing in the World Baseball Classic alongside the likes of Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The experience of playing with and against top-tier talent in that international setting undoubtedly sharpened his skills and prepared him for the next step in his career. Fast forward to 2026, and Murakami is officially stepping into Major League Baseball, but not with the Dodgers, which is where things get interesting for Los Angeles fans. Despite heavy speculation linking him to LA, the young slugger ultimately signed with the Chicago White Sox, securing a 2-year deal worth $34 million. This decision has generated a lot of chatter across baseball circles, both because of what it means for the Dodgers and because it presents Murakami with a unique opportunity to prove himself in a new environment. Now, let's unpack why Murakami's choice makes sense from a career standpoint. The White Sox contract is relatively short-term, but it gives him the chance to adapt to major league pitching, showcase his prodigious power, and address some of the questions scouts and analysts have raised about him. One of the main concerns surrounding Murakami has been his swing-and-miss tendencies and the uncertainty regarding his defensive versatility. While he is a strong presence at both third base and first base, teams were cautious about committing to a long-term deal, which is why a 2-year agreement made sense for both the player and the White Sox. From Murakami's perspective, this short-term contract allows him to arrive in the majors, demonstrate his ability against top-tier pitching, and potentially elevate his stock to become a highly sought-after free agent once the deal expires. For a player who dominated in Japan, including being a single-season home run champion, this approach provides a calculated path toward maximizing his long-term value. So what does all of this mean for the Dodgers? Well, even though he isn't joining LA immediately, the scenario leaves plenty of room for future maneuvering. Murakami's 2-year deal essentially serves as an audition in Major League Baseball. He will get the opportunity to prove that he can handle the high velocity and consistent quality of MLB pitching while adjusting to the everyday grind of a Major League schedule. If he performs well, the Dodgers could easily step in once his contract concludes, especially considering potential roster changes, expiring contracts, and the natural turnover that happens over the course of 2 seasons. Looking at the current Dodgers roster, there are spots, particularly at first base or even third base depending on the team strategy, where Murakami could fit seamlessly. This means that even though he went to Chicago for now, his long-term trajectory could still intersect with LA's plans in a meaningful way. It's also worth noting that Murakami's presence in the American League initially allows him to work on areas that might have concerned teams during the free agent process. For example, while he struggled in the World Baseball Classic against high-velocity fastballs, the exposure to major league coaching, analytics, and consistent game situations should provide him with the resources to adjust and refine his approach. By the time the Dodgers could potentially engage with him, Murakami might have ironed out any inconsistencies, making him a far more reliable asset, both offensively and defensively. This dynamic is what makes his signing with the White Sox so intriguing. It's not a permanent detour, but rather a stepping stone, and savvy fans and analysts are already speculating about how Los Angeles might leverage the opportunity once the short-term deal concludes. Another aspect to consider is the strategic vision of the Dodgers front office. LA has long been known for thinking several moves ahead, almost like a chess match, balancing immediate needs with long-term roster construction. By allowing a player like Murakami to sign a short-term deal elsewhere, they preserve flexibility while keeping their options open. If he excels over the next 2 years, the Dodgers could find themselves in an advantageous position, acquiring a talented player who has already demonstrated success in the American League, thereby mitigating some of the risk associated with signing him directly from Japan. It's a scenario that rewards patience and forward thinking, and it aligns with the Dodgers' approach of making calculated, intelligent roster decisions rather than impulsive moves based purely on hype or market pressure. Now, let's talk a little bit about the statistical side of things. Murakami's numbers in Japan were impressive, highlighted by consistent power hitting and run production that made him one of the league's most feared sluggers. While the World Baseball Classic exposed certain weaknesses, the sample size and context are crucial. He was facing some of the best pitchers in the world in a short tournament, which isn't always reflective of a full season's potential. The White Sox deal gives him a proper runway to demonstrate that his offensive skills can translate over a full major league season. Fans who may be skeptical about his ability to adjust to MLB pitching have a front-row seat to watch a talented young slugger refine his craft in real time, and Dodger supporters should keep an eye on his progress, knowing that his journey in Chicago might just be the prelude to a potential future in Los Angeles. What's especially exciting about this situation is the idea of positional flexibility. Murakami is capable of playing multiple spots, giving teams options when it comes to lineups and defensive alignment. For the Dodgers, this could be particularly valuable, especially in scenarios where injuries, trades, or free agency shifts create openings at first base or third base. Having a player who can step in and contribute at multiple positions is always a strategic advantage, and it adds another layer to the potential storyline of Murakami eventually joining LA. Essentially, even though the signing with the White Sox might feel like a setback for Dodgers fans in the short term, it sets the stage for an exciting possibility in the near future, one where Murakami arrives seasoned, battle-tested, and ready to make an impact at the highest level. In conclusion, the Murakami story is far from over. His move to the White Sox is not the end of the conversation. It's just the beginning of a multi-layered narrative that involves talent evaluation, strategic timing, and a long-term vision of one of baseball's most deliberate and forward-thinking organizations. For Dodgers fans, it's a reminder that sometimes the best opportunities require patience, observation, and an understanding that the baseball world is always in motion. Over the next 2 years, every at-bat, every adjustment, and every performance Murakami puts on display will shape the trajectory of his career and could ultimately align with LA's interests in ways that are both strategic and exciting. Continuing with the Murakami saga, the story becomes even more compelling when you start thinking about the timing and strategic planning that the Dodgers front office has displayed over the past several seasons. Andrew Friedman and his team have consistently demonstrated that they are thinking multiple moves ahead, almost like orchestrating a grand chess match rather than simply reacting to the market. In that context, Murakami's short-term deal with the White Sox is not a rejection of Los Angeles, but rather a scenario that keeps options open while giving the young slugger a platform to prove himself. The 2-year contract is effectively a window for Murakami to adjust to major league pitching, refine his defensive skills, and demonstrate that his offensive talent can survive and thrive against top-level competition. For the Dodgers, this is an opportunity to observe, analyze, and eventually act when the timing aligns perfectly with their roster needs and contract structures. Looking at the Dodgers' current roster composition, there are several interesting angles to consider. First base, third base, and corner infielder roles are always under scrutiny, especially in a league where injuries and performance fluctuations can force sudden changes. Freddie Freeman's contract is set to expire in 2027, which potentially opens a premium slot at first base, while other roster adjustments could simultaneously create opportunities at third base. Murakami's ability to play both positions gives the Dodgers unmatched flexibility when considering long-term acquisitions. By letting him develop in the American League first, the Dodgers essentially reduce the uncertainty surrounding his performance against major league pitching while keeping their future options open. This is a level of forward thinking that reflects a team consistently trying to balance immediate competitiveness with long-term sustainability. The potential for Murakami to integrate with his Japanese teammates in the Dodgers system is another storyline that adds to the intrigue. Los Angeles already has strong international scouting connections and has been successful in integrating talent from Japan in the past, making Murakami a natural fit in terms of both skill set and cultural familiarity. If the Dodgers were to bring him on board after his 2-year tenure with the White Sox, it would not only bolster their lineup, but also create a unique narrative in which former international teammates reunite in the majors. This sort of synergy, while often overlooked in analytics-driven discussions, can be significant in terms of team chemistry and morale, which often translates into performance on the field. For fans who follow the Dodgers closely, this adds another layer of excitement to Murakami's journey and potential impact. Another element that makes this situation particularly intriguing is the way Murakami's performance with the White Sox can serve as a testing ground for his major league potential. In Japan, he dominated with power hitting and consistency, but the World Baseball Classic showed areas where adjustments were necessary, especially against elite pitching velocity. By entering the American League first, he faces consistent exposure to high-caliber pitchers, rigorous schedules, and diverse defensive alignments. Every at-bat, every adjustment, and every swing will be scrutinized, not just by White Sox management, but by analysts and Dodgers observers as well. This makes his short-term contract essentially a proving ground, and it's entirely possible that by the time he becomes a free agent, he will have ironed out the questions surrounding his swing-and-miss tendencies and defensive versatility. From a strategic standpoint, the Dodgers have the luxury of observing and learning from the White Sox's utilization of Murakami, how they position him defensively, how they construct the lineup around his strengths, and how he adapts to major league pitching will provide invaluable insights. For Los Angeles, this is akin to watching a highly anticipated prospect develop in real time, with the added benefit of seeing him adjust to a league that is both competitive and diverse in pitching talent. The Dodgers can then evaluate whether he fits their style, whether he aligns with their long-term roster strategy, and whether acquiring him in 2 years could enhance the balance between offense and defense. This scenario is not just about acquiring a talented player. It's about acquiring the right player at the right moment, which has been a hallmark of Los Angeles' front office operations. It's also worth noting that Murakami's adaptability plays a crucial role in his long-term outlook. Being able to transition between first base and third base at a high level gives him a rare versatility that is always in demand. The Dodgers, like any top-tier organization, value players who can contribute in multiple ways while maintaining offensive production. If Murakami can demonstrate reliability at both positions, his value skyrockets, not only for the Dodgers but in the broader major league landscape. Essentially, he becomes a player who can impact lineup construction, defensive alignment, and strategic game decisions, which makes him far more than just a power hitter. It turns him into a multi-dimensional asset, the kind that can influence games in subtle and significant ways, especially over the course of a long, grueling season. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. In what can only be described as one of the most shocking moves of the offseason, whispers across the baseball world have erupted into a frenzy following reports that EDWIN DÍAZ has agreed to join the Los Angeles Dodgers. Sources close to Fox Sports have apparently confirmed the deal, sending fans and analysts alike into a speculative whirlwind about what this could mean for one of MLB's most storied franchises. DÍAZ, long recognized as one of the premier closers in the game, has built a reputation for late-inning dominance and an intimidating presence on the mound. The thought of him donning the Dodgers uniform has instantly ignited debates about the team's championship aspirations and bullpen strategy moving forward. For months, rumors swirled about DÍAZ potentially landing with a handful of elite teams, with speculation often linking him to clubs desperate for a shutdown reliever capable of altering postseason trajectories. The Dodgers, already loaded with offensive firepower and a solid rotation, now seem poised to further fortify their bullpen with a player who can dominate high-leverage situations. Analysts are already imagining lineups and late-inning scenarios where DÍAZ comes in with games on the line, striking fear into hitters who have faced him during his career. This move, if fully confirmed, could also signal a broader shift in the Dodgers' approach to roster building. Traditionally known for making calculated, high-profile acquisitions, the club's acquisition of DÍAZ suggests a willingness to aggressively pursue elite talent in areas that have often been considered secondary to starting pitching or hitting. The ripple effects of such a signing could extend beyond Los Angeles, potentially prompting a flurry of moves across the league as rival teams scramble to respond. Speculation is already rampant about who might be next on the Dodgers' radar or which key bullpen pieces could be shuffled to accommodate the new closer. Fans are, understandably, in a state of both excitement and disbelief. Social media channels have exploded with reactions ranging from sheer enthusiasm to stunned surprise, reflecting the unexpected nature of the news. Many are now envisioning the kind of electric late-game moments that only DÍAZ seems capable of delivering, imagining him locking down tight contests in the postseason with his signature fastball and devastating slider. It's the kind of headline that ignites imagination and keeps conversations alive in the offseason. And it seems the Dodgers have once again positioned themselves at the center of baseball speculation. Whether this signing will live up to the hype remains to be seen, but the buzz alone is already reshaping expectations for Los Angeles. One thing is clear. The baseball world is watching, and Edwin Díaz in a Dodgers uniform is a narrative too compelling to ignore. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.